Now that you have opened your 365, I want you to go to Class Notebook so that we can create our class notebook. You have 4 areas here in Class Notebook. We only want to start with our class notebook. These areas are within there, but there's a reason that they're here where you can go in and make adjustments and changes. But right now, let's just go into Create a Class Notebook. When you come into this area, you have these areas over to the side that it's going to automatically walk you through. First of all, we need a name for our notebook. I'm going to call this Robert's Venture, and then I'm going to put this as my tester because I don't need to mess with other names that I have. Then I'm going to click Next, and then it moves me to the overview of this notebook and what's in it. This information has a collaboration area, and for this is teacher-student area. This is where it can be edited by the teacher as well as by the students, and they can make changes to any of it. This is a great place for students to do class projects, to share information, as well as group work. Content library. This is an area where the teacher is able to store her files and information that the students have access to, but it's only as they can read it. So it is a read-only document within this content library area that's right here. Then we have the area that is the student notebook. This is a section where each child that you have in your classroom will be listed, but they don't have access to each other's notebooks. They only see their own notebook. And I'm going to put myself in as a student later so that you'll see what I'm talking about there. So let's click Next. I can also add a teacher if I want to collaborate with a teacher, like a special ed teacher that my student is involved with that teacher sometimes and she could help them through some of this. I have her as a colleague that's able to participate and put out some information and help her children that she has through this project on the notebook, which is a great way to collaborate. You also have other teachers on your team maybe that you are collaborating on a particular project and you're able to put them here as well. Click Next. I'm just going to bypass that for now. This is where you're going to put in your students. Now, if you get a student midterm and you need to add them, it is not a problem. You remember seeing those 4 icons in the beginning? That's where we would go to add another student in. So it's not a hard thing to go in and add students or even remove students because some students leave in the middle of the term. So I'm going to put myself in as a student just so you can kind of see that. Roberts, K, and we're going to see who it pulls up. There I am. So I'm putting myself as a student here. I'm going to hit Next. Now, in my student's notebook, there's going to be these tab folders. And think of this as like a big binder that is the teacher binder, and then there's smaller little notebooks, composition notebooks that are the students' that's in your big binder. That's where you put the student's name in and it gave them that notebook. But then they have tabs within their notebook. I can create and make those for them. If I do not want handout there, I do not want class notes, but I want homework and quiz, I can have just those. Or I can have all 4, and I could even add my very own and put one as group work. You can add as many as you need. Click Next. Now we're over here in the preview section. This is what it's going to look like for me as the teacher. It gives me my welcome. It gives me my collaboration space. It gives me my content area. And it gives me my students. All of my students' notebooks for all my classes would appear down here if I had them all listed. But remember, we made Kimberly Roberts, which is me, as a student here. Now, if I want to see what the student sees, I need to go over here to this section. The students will see a welcome, they'll see a collaboration space, a content library, and since I'm already logged in, it pulled up me as a student and what folders I have in my notebook. Remember the one I added here? The group work? There it is. Now I'm ready for it to create my notebooks. Got to be patient with this little guy. Once you've made it to this screen, it has created your notebook for you. You want to go to Open OneNote Online. That is for the app, which is great. I love the app. But to make it easier, I'm going to stay in the online version, which is what we're used to here at school. So you click it. Give it a few seconds here. Your notebook opens at the welcome, which is right here. And it gives you a little explanation of what it is. You've got your collaboration space. Again, this is the area where students, as well as the teacher, we can communicate, send information back and forth. This is a great way for all of us to share our information. Also remember, we can do other things with it. And I'm going to show you that in a minute, where we can actually lock this area until you're ready to give the children access to it. Your content library, which is here, it gives you again another explanation just to remind you. This is where you're going to put all of your information, your files, your homework assignments, your videos, your web addresses and links, and any information like that you can send out through this, but the students cannot get to it. They can see it as a read-only, but they cannot manipulate, change it, or edit it in any way until you put it in the collaboration. Then it can be. Here is, remember I put myself in as a student. This is the information and my files that come up, or my file folders that come up, where I can put my information for the teacher to come back and grade later. Group work was the one I added, if you remember. I'm going to close those. Now, one thing that's important that I do want to show you, right here at Class Notebook, I want you to go to Manage Notebooks. This is very important. As you're going to see, I have quite a few notebooks here. Whoop, there it is. So let me pull it up, and I hit the Enable button. That gives me the opportunity to enable what is called a teacher-only section. In that section, I'm able to put anything I want in there without any of the children even know it exists, or it's my files. It's my safety place to put information that I don't want out. And the collaboration, you heard me mention, we could lock it. Right here is where you're going to do that. This means you're going to lock this collaboration spot until you're ready for the children to come together and edit and work through that information. Once they're able to do that, then of course you can unlock it and you have it ready for them to, type back and forth to each other, share data, information, any research that they have come across. They're able to share that. And again, see, that was the one we added. Now, if I want to, I can go in at this point and change these. Instead of that saying quiz, I can now have that say test. So it's however I want to change that. And then I'm going to hit save. Also, I can add here too. So I'm going to save that. This is also where you can get a link to send to parents in an email so that they're able to go in and they can look at the content area only. They cannot look at anything else. They can't manipulate it. They can't change anything. They can only view what you have in content. So if a child comes home and forgets something, the parent can go to their link to help them get that information. All right, we're going back to Open Online. Then it comes up, and as you can see, my collaboration is there, my content is there, but now there's that teacher only section. Again, it tells you what is here. This is your private spot. This is a great way. And then as a student, I put myself in, but your students would all be listed right here. So let's say we're looking at this student, and all of their files are going to be down below here. These are their tabs. Again, you see that one that I changed as test instead of quiz, which is pretty cool. All right, that's it for starting your classroom notebook. I had a couple of teachers that couldn't sit down at a time that was convenient because I had classes, so I made the quick little video to help them. So here you guys are. If you have any questions, come find me in the hallway or in my classroom. Talk to you later.